can come sit closer, maybe I talk quietly mostly. It's hard to hear. So probably what we'll do tonight, I'll give a short talk, as is the custom, and then I'll invite the new people to go and show you how to do the meditation, and everyone else can just practice. Tonight is our English session together. When I talk, it's important that we prepare ourselves, use it as a time to prepare ourselves for the meditation. We're not here just to learn theory or ideas. We're here to practice. And so here we have this introduction where I talk. You can start to bring your mind back to the here and now. So it may not be the most entertaining form of speech, but in this way it's more useful. So when we listen, we can close our eyes and start to become more meditative. If we've already begun to practice, we can just continue with our practice while we're listening. One of the ways of understanding the practice of meditation is in terms of the difference between happiness and peace. And I would say only when we understand and begin to prefer peace to what we normally understand to be happiness can we really appreciate things like meditation. Because that's really what we're doing, is teaching our minds to give up the need to seek out pleasure again and again. Teaching our minds to be here, to not worry about getting things, achieving things, accomplishing things. To be content with the present moment, the here and the now. Most of how we live our lives is chasing after happiness and running away from suffering. And so, as I said before, we compartmentalize reality. We're no longer open to the full spectrum of experience. Only a certain part of our experience is acceptable. For instance, sitting here right now, there's probably a lot of things that are unacceptable. The pain that we feel in the body by having to sit still. Maybe we feel hot or cold. Maybe we're itching. Maybe we're thinking about the past or the future. There are many things that we can't accept about the reality in front of us. And on the other hand, there are many things that we require to be happy. So we're thinking about food, or we're thinking about family, or we're thinking about friends, or we're thinking about places and things that we have to do, plans that we have for the future, maybe thinking about things that happened to us in the past, good things or bad things. And we're constantly judging. We're constantly dividing the world up into good and bad. And when experience goes according to our wishes, we're happy. When it doesn't, we're unhappy. And this is the ordinary way of approaching the idea of happiness, the ordinary method for human beings to find true happiness is to chase after pleasures and run away from suffering. The reason why we come to practice meditation is because we begin to see that this is a poor model for finding true happiness, for life, in terms of finding peace, in terms of finding real and lasting happiness. Because the more we get what we want, what is enjoyable to us, the more we feel happy, the more we like that happiness and want that happiness. And the more we distinguish that happiness from other states, which are then labeled as unhappy or boring or unexciting. And so rather than finding more happiness, our search for happiness actually leads us to more suffering, to a constant chase, a constant search for pleasure, needing this and that, and so many things, and becoming angry and upset when we can't get what we want. When things aren't the way we want, we right away have to fix, have to change things, have to change our experience of reality. So the first thing we realize about meditation is it's not really about happy feelings. It's not about getting something. It's not our goal when we sit is not to sit and feel states of bliss, states of pleasure. What we're looking for is a state of peace. And we practice meditation because we realize that this peace is something that we're missing in our lives. No matter how much happiness we have, we rarely, if ever, have any peace. Because we're always chasing, we're always looking, we're always unsatisfied. And so the practice of meditation is creating contentment and satisfaction with the way things are. No longer needing things to be other than what they are. Even when things are, our experience of reality is painful, is unpleasurable, to not be upset by it. Because we can't avoid these states. We can't avoid getting old, we can't avoid getting sick, we can't avoid dying. And we can't avoid so many unpleasant experiences that are going to arise for us in our lives. And so when we experience the problems of life again and again, we realize that there's something wrong with the way we're looking at the world. And our minds are not stable, our minds are not calm. Our minds are not the way we'd like them to be. We don't have any peace. Even just sitting here listening to me talk, you'll find your mind is not really at peace. It's thinking about the good things that we can get and becoming upset very quickly about the bad things that arise. Unpleasantness. And so we've already, even just sitting here in a few minutes, we've already segregated, we've already made judgment after judgment about everything that arises. The things that I'm saying, right away there's judgment. The temperature in the room, there's judgment. The feeling of the sitting mat that you're on. The pains in the body, the itching and the discomfort. Thinking about the past, thinking about the future. We're not really at peace. Our minds are very clingy. They cling to everything. They have a judgment, they have an opinion about everything. And they're chattering away, this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. Telling us what to do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. Our minds are like a little child, whining and complaining all the time. Unable to sit still, unable to be, just be in the here and now. So this is the reason why we use this tool called meditation, of contemplating things as they are. Instead of judging things, we see them for what they are. So when we feel a pain in the body, we just see it for pain. It's totally changing the way we look at the world. We've never before have thought to actually focus on a painful situation. Our normal reaction is to avoid it, to run away from it, to cover it up, to ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. But the reason why we're doing the exact opposite is because we want to understand. We come to see that we don't really have a proper understanding of reality. We don't really have a proper relationship with reality, and we're always messing up, making mistakes. We're addicted to things, we're averse to things, to situations that lead us to get angry and frustrated and bored and worried and scared and depressed, addicted. And so in meditation we want to change that. We want to come to understand reality and figure out the proper way to react to the phenomena that arise. We want to learn about the pain. We want to come to understand what is pain. What happens when pain arises? How does my mind react? And to see where the true suffering is. So we remind ourselves. We use this word to remind ourselves this is pain. We say to ourselves, pain, 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 simply knowing that it's pain. And we make peace with this pain. We come to understand that it simply is pain. There's nothing intrinsically negative about the feeling at all. There's nothing in it that says, this is bad, I'm bad, hate me. We do that to ourselves. We create that for ourselves. When we feel pain right away, it's bad. It's a problem. It's my problem. My pain. So instead of all of that, we understand the pain for what it is. We see this is pain. We stop it there. And we come to force our minds to accept this, to accept the reality of it, to stop denying the fact that it is pain, that it's there, that it exists. And we make peace with the pain. We find peace in all situations, whatever arises. We stop compartmentalizing reality. everything becomes peaceful for us. Everything becomes acceptable. Nothing that arises can cause us to suffer. This is in brief what we're trying for, what we're aiming for. And it's, as I said, it's the highlighting of this difference between happiness and peace. If you're always seeking after happy experiences, pleasurable experiences, you'll never be at peace. You're creating addiction. You're creating attachment. The irony of it is this, that the more you want to be happy, the less happy you'll become. The less happy because the less peaceful. Your mind is no longer at peace. When we practice meditation, we're not trying to give rise to a certain experience. We're trying to find peace. We're trying to be at peace with ourselves. To be at peace with the world around us. To be at peace with the universe. To stop fighting. And stop needing and wanting. To accept things for what they are. This is why we practice. And so without further ado, I'd invite everyone to begin. For those of you who have practiced before, you can continue on. Start with the mindful prostration and walking and then sitting. For the new people, I'll take you now to show you how to practice meditation.